stop acting like somebody that's speaking up on behalf of girls, like a Sophie Cunningham, like a Riley Gaines, are scourges of the earth. That is an irresponsible thing to do. You are a coach for a female basketball team.
So clearly was a foul, was not called. And then Cunningham gets into the face of Carrington.
The WNBA has seen controversy before. Rivalries, hard fouls, heated moments, social media drama. All of it is come and gone. But what is happening right now, in the middle of the 2026 season, is something the league has never faced before. A player was clotheslined in the face hard enough to draw blood. The player who did it got ejected, walked to the locker room, and posted white privilege on social media while the game was still being played. The league handed out a $1,000 fine, said nothing about the post. And then that same player went out 4 days later and hit 2 more people above the neck without a single ejection or flagrant foul being called.
Walk with me, take a walk with me, take a walk with me. There is craziness going on in the WNBA. Carrington tweeted out white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this. She fouled Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously white person, fouls her hard. Flagrant 2, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now, here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. It was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was not.
This is not a storyline. This is not a narrative. This is the actual state of the WNBA right now. And the people running it have made a choice to look the other way at every single turn. And when the most credible voice in sports media finally ran out of patience, what he said stopped the entire sports world cold. If you have been following the situation even loosely, you already know it has escalated far beyond basketball. But if you want to understand every layer of what happened, why the league's response has been called a complete failure by voices across the political spectrum, and why a state attorney general is now doing the league's job for them, stay with us. Because this story goes deeper than most people realize. And before we get into it, if you enjoy content like this, hit that subscribe button right now. We break down the biggest stories in sports with no filler and no fluff, just the facts straight.
Play in real time. I went straight to a press conference. The stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. Love will win. Grace will win. Humility will win. And kindness will win. I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to.
It started with a layup. Sophie Cunningham drove toward the basket, and Carrington came flying in to defend. What happened next was not a standard hard foul. Cunningham was hit across the neck and face. She went down. She came up with a bloodied lip. The officials reviewed the play and ruled it a flagrant 2, the most severe foul classification in the game, reserved for contact that is excessive and can lead to injury. Carrington was ejected immediately. Now, a flagrant 2 ejection in a professional basketball game is already a significant event. But what made this particular moment explode into something far bigger was what happened in the 60 seconds after Cunningham hit the floor. Instead of walking off quietly, Carrington got into a brief back and forth near the paint before being separated and escorted off. The crowd reacted. The fever reacted. And then Carrington walked into the locker room.
Cunningham was brutally fouled in the face during today's game, and the offending player, Carrington, was ejected after officials ruled her hit a flagrant 2. But after the ejection, Carrington posted, quote, white privilege on social media and tagged the Indiana Fever. The on-court drama follows weeks of backlash and protests against Cunningham for speaking out against including transgender athletes in the WNBA.
What she did next would take a basketball play and turn it into a national story overnight. 8 minutes after being ejected, while the game was still happening, Carrington posted 2 words on social media, white privilege. She tagged the Indiana Fever directly. Then she posted August 23rd. When the internet responded at full force, she went private. Let that sequence land for a second. A flagrant 2 ejection, 8 minutes. A racial social media post, a cryptic date, and then silence. The post spread across every platform instantly. Sports media, political media, mainstream news, everybody was talking about it. And the league's response to all of it was a $1,000 fine. not a suspension, not an official statement addressing the racial content of the post. $1,000 and total institutional silence on everything that actually mattered.
Pros that Stephanie is stuck in is she knows DiJonai is a good person, but now she's coaching people who are likely taking money from the Heritage Foundation, has a large MAGA racist fan base, and they didn't like that she defended DiJonai.
Take personally any suggestions that I don't 100% always have my players back.
Men should not play sports against women. I'm not going to get into all the bullshit that's going on out here in the world today. If anybody thinks that, I think they're stupid. I'm not.
To put that in perspective, $1,000 to a professional athlete is less than what most people spend on groceries in a month. It is not a deterrent. It is not discipline. It is a number so small that it communicates one thing clearly. We are not going to handle this. And the people watching closely noticed immediately. If the social media post was the match, Stephanie White's post-game press conference poured fuel on the fire. White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, stood at the podium and told reporters she did not see the play in real time. She said she went straight to a press conference and could not comment further. Then she said she did not think Carrington intentionally went to hit Cunningham across the neck. And then she praised Carrington's competitive nature. One of the things about her is that she's going to play her butt off, White said. Let that sink in. Her own player was on the floor with a bloodied lip from a flagrant 2 ejection, and the head coach's answer was to defend the player who caused it. The same coach who had previously worked with Carrington at the Connecticut Sun. The same coach who, in her very next breath that week, would post on social media that love will win, grace will win, humility will win, and then tell everybody who disagreed with her to go to hell.
Go high. Love, grace, humility will win. And then you tell everybody to go to hell. You think that's going to work for you, Coach White? Think that's going to work for you? The reality of the situation is none of that stuff will win if it's left up to you, Stephanie White. Because you're not handling it right. You playing right into their hands. Right into their hands.
That contradiction became the second biggest story of the entire week. And when Stephen A. Smith got hold of it, he was not measured. He was not careful. He was done. Smith has been one of the most consistent voices covering the WNBA this season. He has praised Caitlin Clark. He has defended the league when critics dismissed it entirely. He has tried, repeatedly, to give the people running it the benefit of the doubt. But the combination of the flagrant 2, the social media post, White's press conference, and a league $1,000 non-response pushed him past a line he had not crossed all season. How are you the head coach and you didn't see the play? Smith said, looking directly into the camera. It's your job to watch the game. How did you not see the play? He didn't stop there. He called out White's post-game social media post. The love and grace and humility declaration followed immediately by telling everyone to go to hell, and asked out loud whether she thought that approach was actually going to work for her. He said it plainly. She was playing right into the hands of exactly the people she claimed to be fighting against.
Facing the reality of the tense situation that the WNBA, and especially you as the coach of the Indiana Fever, is involved in. There are folks in Indiana at a home game booing you. You ain't the road team, you the home team, you the home coach, and they booing you. And Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark can speak up for you all they want to, as they did, and as they should have.
But the moment that spread to every platform, every sports show, and every comment section came when Smith addressed the WNBA's broader pattern of inaction. He distilled the entire situation into one sentence that hit like a freight train. The time has come for folks to stop whining about how stuff is being politicized and do something about it. So it can't be politicized, Smith said. Do something or suck it up. You don't have a choice other than those two. Do something or suck it up. That sentence is now the defining verdict on the WNBA's 2026 season, because it is not political. It is not biased. It is just true. And it applied to every single unresolved situation the league had been sitting on all year. The white privilege post, the flagrant foul pattern, the trans eligibility debate, the racial attacks online, all of it. The league had been choosing option 2 over and over, and Smith finally said it out loud in a way that could not be ignored. He also turned his attention to Caitlin Clark, who had delivered an emotional post-game statement expressing her support for White. Smith acknowledged the gesture and then called it out for what it was. "Congratulations," he said. What a statement, saying absolutely positively nothing. He wanted Clark to say more. More about Carrington, more about the white privilege post, more about what the league keeps failing to do. Clark, as she always does, professionally redirected. Let the governing bodies handle it. Focus on basketball. This is for the league to figure out. Smith pushed back on that standard for the first time all year. And when the most credible voice in sports media and the most important player in women's basketball are no longer on the same page, that tells you everything about how serious this has genuinely become. The WNBA's silence created a vacuum, and vacuums get filled. Florida Attorney General James Uthmere warned DJ Carrington directly over the white privilege social media post. A sitting state attorney general warning a professional basketball player about a locker room social media post. That is where this league's refusal to define its own policies and enforce its own standards has brought everyone involved. Smith addressed the political dimension honestly and directly. He asked openly whether the Attorney General would have taken the same position if the post had come from someone with opposite political views, and he acknowledged he did not know the answer. The political motivation behind the warning is a legitimate question, but Smith was clear that questioning the Attorney General's motives does not erase what the post actually said. It does not erase the flagrant 2 ejection. It does not change the $1,000 fine. And it does not change the fact that the WNBA said absolutely nothing publicly about a racial social media post that turned a basketball play into a national political story. The Attorney General stepped in because the league would not, and Smith said out loud what that means. The WNBA left the door wide open and is now shocked that people are walking through it. That is not a conservative argument or a liberal argument. That is a governance argument. When an institution refuses to govern itself, something else fills that space. Every time, without exception, voices from across the political spectrum, commentators, former players, coaches, all landed in the same place. Making a racial social media post 8 minutes after a flagrant 2 ejection is not a defensible position no matter where you sit politically. Jason Whitlock, who had predicted months before that Carrington would seriously injure someone if the league did not intervene, was immediately back on the story. He had been right about Cunningham, and he was now pointing at other players, Zandolini and Hayes, with the league still having announced no further discipline. If there was any moment where the league had a chance to show it had learned something, it came 4 days after the Cunningham incident when Carrington returned to action against the Golden State Valkyries. She hit 2 more players above the neck. 0 ejection. 0 flagrant foul called. She also had a fan removed from Chase Center on what was widely described as an unfounded complaint. The sequence was almost impossible to believe. A player who had just been ejected for a flagrant 2 foul that left an opponent with a bloodied lip goes out 4 days later, with the entire sports world watching, and the same pattern continues without consequence. This is what option 2 looks like in practice. A $1,000 fine changes no behavior. A state attorney general warning changes no behavior. Complete league silence changes no behavior. And now, the pattern has extended to a second game, a second set of players, and a second round of national outrage, with the WNBA still saying nothing of substance. Whitlock had called it, fans online called it, and now it had happened again in front of everybody. One comment that circulated widely captured it perfectly. If the league doesn't step in, the players will start to police themselves, and then you have chaos. That is not a fringe take. That is a reasonable fear about where this ends if nothing changes. When Carrington returned to social media on Monday, following the Cunningham incident, she claimed people were misrepresenting the white privilege post. She said it was not related to what happened on the court, but she never explained what it was related to. She posted white privilege 8 minutes after being ejected, tagged the Indiana Fever directly, posted a cryptic date, went private when the response came in, showed up at a press conference, and called the clothesline unintentional, then came back to social media to say people were getting it wrong, without ever once explaining what getting it right would look like. That sequence convinced almost nobody, and calling it gaslighting became one of the most common descriptions across sports media. The conversation around Carrington has settled into something that one user described with remarkable accuracy. She is the Draymond Green of the WNBA. She will be hated by some and celebrated by others. She will never stop playing this way. Former players and coaches will always defend her. And the more polarized the reactions around her become, the more her profile grows, which means there's almost no external pressure that actually changes her approach on the court. The deeper issue here is not just one player. It is a league that has spent an entire season refusing to define where the lines are and what crossing them actually costs. The trans eligibility debate has been unresolved all season. The online racial attacks that follow certain games have gone unaddressed. The pattern of physicality that crosses from competitive into dangerous has been met with fines that mean nothing. And the result is exactly what you would expect when an institution refuses to lead. Everybody else starts making the decisions for it. A state attorney general, social media courts, sports commentators delivering verdicts the league office will not deliver. Fans threatening to stop watching. This is where option 2 goes. Caitlin Clark is in an impossible position. She is the biggest name in women's basketball. Every word she says becomes a headline. She has handled the scrutiny around her with remarkable consistency all season. Stay focused, let the league handle it. Keep the attention on basketball. That approach has been widely respected. But Stephen A. Smith challenged it directly this week, and his challenge deserves to be taken seriously. Clark's emotional support for White was genuine and human. But Smith's point was that the moment calls for more than emotional support. It calls for someone with Clark's platform to name what is happening and demand that it stop, not just from one direction, but from every direction. Clark's measured approach protects her professionally. It also, as Smith argued, says absolutely nothing to the people causing the problem. And in a situation this serious, saying nothing is its own kind of statement. White, meanwhile, is now managing a crisis partly of her own making. Her defense of Carrington at the podium, combined with her "love will win" social media post followed immediately by telling everyone to go to hell, made her a story when she should have been managing one. Her positioning has become impossible to defend, and Smith said directly that she is playing right into the hands of the people she is trying to fight. That is the real tragedy of the situation. There are legitimate grievances from multiple directions in this story. The racial attacks online that follow games involving black players are real. The political weaponization of every single incident is real. The institutional failure to define and enforce standards is real. And because the league has refused to lead, every one of these legitimate grievances has been hijacked, amplified, and turned into a culture war flashpoint instead of being resolved. Do something or suck it up. Smith was not being cruel when he said that. He was being accurate. Because option 2, keep doing nothing, keep issuing $1,000 fines, keep staying silent on the posts, and the pattern and the political interference has a destination. And that destination is not good for the WNBA, for its players, or for the fans who genuinely love the game. Step back from the specific incidents for a second and look at what has actually happened this season. A player was hit in the face hard enough to draw blood in what was ruled a flagrant 2 ejection. The offending player posted racial content on social media 8 minutes later while the game was still being played. The league's response was a $1,000 fine and public silence on the post. A state attorney general intervened where the league would not. The same player went out 4 days later, hit 2 more people above the neck, and faced 0 discipline. A head coach defended an opponent who just injured her own player. The most credible voice in sports media turned on the league. And the most important player in women's basketball is being criticized for the first time all season for not saying enough. Every single one of those things happened within 1 week. And the reason they happened is not complicated. When you refuse to govern, you lose the ability to define the story. The WNBA has spent this entire season letting other people write the narrative, politicians, commentators, social media accounts, and now the state attorney general, because it would not write the narrative itself. It would not define the policy. It would not enforce the standard. It would not answer the question everybody was asking. And now it is stuck with the consequences of that silence, playing out in real time on every platform, in every sports show, and in every comment section, with no clear path back to a place where the league controls its own story again. Smith's verdict is the only honest summary of where things stand. Do something or suck it up. There is no third option. There never was. The question now is whether the people running the WNBA are finally ready to hear it, or whether they will choose option 2 one more time and wait to see what comes through the door next. That is the full picture of where the WNBA's 2026 season stands right now. And honestly, it is one of the most consequential stretches in the league's entire history. Not because of the foul, not because of the post, but because of what the response to both of them reveals about how this league is, or is not, being run. What do you think? Has DJ Carrington proven beyond any doubt that a $1,000 fine means absolutely nothing? And is Stephen A. Smith's "do something or suck it up" the most accurate verdict anyone has delivered on this entire situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe right now and hit the bell so you never miss when we post. This conversation is just getting started.